Hello, here we are back in the workshop. I have tidied up a bit. I've built a new bench, moved the toolboxes around, created some room. I've still got the pool table right in the way of everything. I can't move it on my own, it weighs a ton. I'll have to get some assistance in at some point and get that moved. I've still got a lathe and a mill to squeeze in there somewhere. I think they go just over there behind the camera. But that's not today's problem, this is today's problem. And we've got to get a start motor out. I'll show you, I'll give you a close-up of access is awful. It's not good at all. Now as you can see, somewhere down there is a starter motor. And it's a pig to get to. I have been told you can get it from underneath, but I'm not an acrobat. I'm too old to be crawling around underneath it, so I'm going to take the easy option. I'm just going to take the inlet manifold off. It seems the obvious solution to me. So I think what we'll do, I'll position the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I've fitted a rudimentary light to the bonnet because I've only got a few lights in this workshop at the moment and it's pretty dark in here. But let's see what we can do. I'll set you up in a different spot and see what happens. Let's go for it. Oh, loads of things to take off. A lot of people ask, where'd you start on this stuff? And it's like, well, you just got to start taking stuff off, haven't you? Let me get a flat screwdriver and some pliers, and we'll get a few of these hoses and pipes off the way. And basically, for those that aren't mechanically minded, the engines aren't complicated. There's a lot of nuts and bolts, there's a lot of wires, but all these connectors normally only plug in one way. Just try and remember where you took everything out of and take it apart. First things first today, I'm going to disconnect the battery because we're messing with the starter motor. And yeah, let me get a flat screwdriver and some pliers. I've still got to sort my tools out. Look at this. All the tools I've got, and that's the only flat screwdriver I can lay my hand on. Hopeless. Right, first of all, let's get this airbox and intake hose out the way. We don't want them. Well, we do want them, but I don't want them in here at the moment. Let's get that clip off there. Pull that off there. Pull that off there. Try not to whack your elbow on the bonnet. There we go. Piece number one out the way. Oh, we're nearly there already now. We'll disconnect the battery, like I said. I'll do that now because I'll forget to do that else. Try not to disturb the snail who's living in here at the moment, it would appear. And now it's just a case of what have we got here then? I'm willing to bet this manifold's got some kind of support bracket on the bottom of it. This is a nightmare scenario, this engine. You just can't get to anything. Injectors, just pull them off. We've got a clip there. Looks like we've got another clip down there. Get that one off. Oh, where do we even begin? Let's get that one off of there. We'll take that pipe off of there. All you basically got to do is look and think, what's in my way? What have I got to take off? As it happens on this, we got quite a lot of stuff in the way. Let's try and get that one out there. Get that off. Get that off. They're out of the way. We can throw that loom over that way. That gets that out of the way. We got these two clips there, which I think it'd just be easier to take it out. That jacket. Although I've started sorting the workshop out, my tools are still all over the shop. They're everywhere. Oh, that one was already loose. Hopefully nothing seized up now. I actually had this engine out not a million years ago. I took this engine out. The engine runs okay, but it was burning oil. So I done the piston rings. I didn't do any. I replaced the valve stem oil seals, but I didn't do anything else with the head. It does run all right. It burns a lot less oil now, but it does still burn a bit of oil. And of course, this one's going to fight me to the end. Another bolt down in there. I'm pretty sure underneath this inlet manifold there's got to be a support bracket down there somewhere. That's probably going to make it a bit of a beast. Another plug there. Take the throttle cable off. I can spot where the little fella goes in. Or I'll just leave it dangling there for the minute. We got another one of those. I hate these pushing expanding clips. They are a nightmare. Try and wedge that down there out the way. vacuum hose for the brake servo. Let's get that off and tuck that up. Hey, throttle cable is off. And already we've exposed some of the inlet manifold. Let's get a few more of these clips and wires out of the way. I don't really want to take the fuel injectors out if I can help it. There's no point taking off stuff we don't need to. They are our fuel feeds. I found another clamp bolt down there. That one's loose. I wonder how many of the nuts and bolts I actually done up. Luckily on these Suzukis, most of the nuts and bolts are the same. They're all these little 10mm. Sorry, the light is awful in here, but hopefully you can see. Now it looks like, I'm going to guess they're a 14mm bolt holding the inlet manifold on. Let's see. Let's get a ratchet on there. Yeah, 13. Nope. 12. 12mm. Now on this inlet manifold, some of them are bolts, some of them are nuts and studs, which makes it a bit easy to remember where they go. I don't know that I've got to take the whole inlet manifold right out the way. I'm hoping I can just sort of pull it forward so I can get to the starter motor. They do say on the internet you can get to it from the bottom, but honestly that looks like a nightmare trying to go about it that way. You just can't get your hands down in there. It's crazy tight. Longer extension. Right, that bolt in there is a little bit rounded, and I am using a multi, you can't see on this camera. Basically, you want a hex socket, not a star drive socket. Is it star drive multi-point socket? I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Only if you haven't got the right one, you ain't getting it off. Let's try that one. No, that one's not having it either. I can get a spanner down in there though. See if we can get a spanner on it. No. Is it even a 12, that one? I'll be honest, that could be an 11mm bolt. See if we can find an 11mm socket. No, she's not an 11 either. Okay. We'll ignore that one. We'll come back to that one. Now what I'm realising straight away here is that this fuel rail is banging my way. So it's going to have to come out. Pop the ejector rail out. That's better. Now we got some room to manoeuvre. We've got a little vacuum pipe there. Now we may be able to get our 12mm spanner on that bolt. We got some little fuel rail mounts there. That's got them. I don't think there's anything wrong with this nut too much actually. It's just you can't get them on them very straight. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Get that one. And that one. I can't remember if I put a new gasket on this when I done the piston rings. Left one of the injectors behind there. Now whilst I'm undoing these, I can see there's a pipe going round. I think that's the EGR valve on the back of the engine round there. That pipe's going to have to come off. The best way I can describe, undo everything you think you can see, give it a tug. If it doesn't come, you've missed something. So you've got to hunt around and see where she's catching. Another one hidden in there. Oh, caught it. Caught it. You thought I'd buggered up there. You thought I'd lost that one, didn't you? I did. apparently if you've got the other engine these Jimneys come with, which I'm not a great Jimny aficionado, but I presume the other engine is just an 8-valve engine. I don't know for sure. This is a 2053 plate. What's that? 2003. 21 years old. That one fell on the floor, but that's all right. I'll find that in a bit. I've got one more bolt hole in the inlet manifold to the head, which, because of this strategically placed breather, oh, I've just noticed that. See that breather pipe? That breather pipe is only hooked on just there. So we can get rid of that. That makes our life a little bit easier. I'll get my socket on this bolt. Just. I won't bother filming this going all back together. Not because I'm trying to hide anything, but because I should imagine it's pretty boring. I'd love to get you closer to have a look, but if I put the camera here, then I can't be here. So let's see. Right, our inlet manifold is now free of the head, but somewhere down there, there she is. I'm guessing that's a 12mm again. Underneath the edge of the throttle bottle down there, I can feel the bolt. It's not a 12 though. I'm willing to take a gamble that that's probably a 14mm. Let's try a donkey spanner. Is it a 13? No. Is it a 14? Yes. 14mm. That bolt's quite tight, so we use the old 2-spanner trick here. There. I think this is the only bolt supporting it from underneath. It has a support. You can tell it's going to have a support because of how long and dangling off the side of the engine it is. And there you go. A 14mm. Right, now we've got to get the EGR pipe off, which from the looks of it, wedge that out the way there. That looks to be 2 little 10mm. We'll go with a shorter extension. Now my fuel injectors are leaking petrol here. Now what you can't smell is the strong smell of petrol. I have got fire extinguishers on hand. Not that I'm expecting it. I'll avoid having a fag. One. You can tell I've had this apart recently because as soon as you crack the nuts off, they will wind out by hand. There we go, another little 10mm bolt. Or actually, that 10mm bolt is slightly longer than the others. Not a lot in it. Try and get that. Looks like we've still got something holding on down there. Ah, we got a fuel pipe. We have got a fuel pipe. Let's crack that one off. Oh, there we go, that one's coming. There's another one falling on the floor. It wasn't that long ago I would have to tackle this job on a gravel driveway, which, as you can imagine, when you drop a nut or a bolt on a gravel driveway, it is lost forever. You are never getting that bolt back again. And the petrol keeps pouring out. It should stop soon enough. There we go. Now that one's coming off. I don't think there's too much holding it on now. Of course, we got a wire holding on. I think it'd be easier if we just pop this wire out. It only goes to a couple more places along the front there. I do apologise, I just had to stop you for a minute. My daughter come in. But I forgot to press record, so you didn't actually see me taking the inlet manifold off. But all I had to do was actually just give it a bit of a pry with the screwdriver. It's fighting two different mounts. And in an ideal world, you would take the bottom mount off. But likewise, just a little bit of a shove and we got it off. I'll just release you now. Right, now I'm going to whizzle you round here. There is the starter motor. It is right buried in there, and I think anyone that says you can get that off from the bottom, it's taken me probably 15 minutes to get that inlet manifold off, and now I can clearly see the starter motor. See if we can see anything. Now, I believe the fault with the starter motor is the solenoid. The solenoid clicks, it fires the starter motor in, but it doesn't actually let any power go to the starter motor. But what I'll do, I'm not going to film, you won't be able to see anything, so I'm going to stop you here. I'm going to whip the starter motor out the hole and we'll get it on the bench, and you can join me back there and we'll have a look and see if we can see what's wrong with it. Right, here we are. The starter motor is out and it is in the vise. Now, unfortunately, it is the solenoid that is worn out. Now, hang on. You just slip that in there. Now, the problem with the solenoid is these two copper bolts. I've got contacts in here. Sorry, let me get you on camera. Got contacts in here. And when you push this plunger in, it's supposed to connect these two contacts together and send power to the starter motor. This one isn't. Unfortunately, there are people on YouTube that pull these things apart and fixes them, but just the solenoid on its own is 20 quid part off of eBay. I've ordered a new one, so we'll pop that on. Now, anyone wondering why I'm messing around, this starter motor is about 100 quid. You can buy a cheap aftermarket one, I think they're 60-70 pounds, but there's nothing wrong with this starter motor. It's a Mitsubishi item, believe it or not, on a Suzuki, but it's only the solenoid that's gone. I've ordered a new one from eBay. That should be with me on Wednesday. 20 quid for a solenoid. We'll pop it back together. We'll stick it back in the car. And hopefully it'll work. Hopefully. But that's it for today. Apologise for the very poor video. Let me get you out the light. Apologise for the poor video. I'm still learning. I have got the tripod. So, as you might have seen, we had a little bit of a better view in the engine. But we've still got... long way to go on the videos. Once Jimny's fixed, I've got to build a soapbox racer, which is easier to video because it's not in a dark engine bay. But I'll be back Wednesday. I'll show you this going back together. Hopefully it runs. We can get it out the way and then we can start on a soapbox. But other than that, thanks for joining me today. And I'll see you soon. Cheers.